Okay, so let's look at this environment now. What happens when the controller is not reachable? What is this called again? This is standalone mode. Remember, when everything's connected, we're in connected mode. When that DTLS tunnel, that CAPWAP tunnel is up, we're fine. Remember, datagram transport layer security tunnel. When that is up, everything's hunky-dory. I don't have to worry about anything. So what happens to my environment when this fails? Well, we're going to try and perform authentication by itself at the AP level. And if we can't access the database, we can't access any of those things, those clients are going to be disassociated. Yep, they're gone. Any clients that can be locally authenticated will remain on. Any centrally switched wireless LANs will be shut down. So if I have centrally switched wireless LANs that exist where? On our wireless LAN controller. These are backhauled wireless LANs that are configured here. So I can't deliver the traffic. All of those clients that are associated with that wireless LAN are going to be what? Disassociated, because I no longer have connectivity. If I have any locally switched wireless LANs meant just for traffic here, not associated with this wireless LAN controller at all. So this is going to be a different SSID, right? Those SSIDs will be up hunky-dory, no problem. Now it says security support varies. It absolutely does vary. What does it vary upon? Reachability. If my Radius server is here, I will not be able to authenticate to the Radius server. Why? Because my DTLS is down. 1. 2, more importantly, my wide area network is down as well. So headquarters is gone. I can't reach headquarters at all. So any security support services I have across that area is done. Clients will be disassociated because they cannot be authenticated. So be very aware of the behavior here in standalone. You have to know what's going to happen, because it's not a question of if the wide area network goes down, it's a question of when. And you have to be able to understand what happens next. Okay, so let's talk for a moment about this a specific scenario. I want to talk about a very specific scenario. Okay, so our wide area network goes down. Okay, so our local office is up. But let's say I have a Radius server. We're gonna bring up some specifics here so you understand what's going on. I have a Radius server, and we are locally switched. This is one of the ones that it's tough to understand. A locally switched wireless LAN. Okay, so this wireless LAN exists here in this branch office, but is centrally authenticated. This is one of the ones you're going to have to think about. So I want to give you this scenario. Centrally authenticated to this Radius server over here. Let's think about it. Now, first scenario. This client right here comes into the office in the morning, and this is the scenario he sees. Will this client be able to connect to the local SSID, the local wireless LAN? Yes or no? The answer is no. You will not be able to connect to this Radius server. We have no connectivity to authenticate. So that user will not be able to authenticate to our central authentication point or our Radius server. But let's say, and I'm going to change colors here, this user here, let's ask a different question. What if this user was already authenticated to the Radius server at the time of this failure? So that user had already authenticated to the Radius server, already had a successful association with the AP, and then 30 minutes or an hour later, the Radius server went down. What is the status of this user now? It's a different question, isn't it? Remember, this is a local SSID we're talking about in this scenario. Here's what happens. This client remains associated until the lease drops. Until that association lease drops with that AP and there's a chance to re-authenticate, then it fails. Because remember, authentication is down. Once you've authenticated, we're fine as long as we are locally switched. Unless we cause a scenario in which we roam, let's say that it roams. As long as we roam within a security area or within a mobility group that doesn't require re-authentication, we're fine. But as soon as we have to re-authenticate or our lease expires, that's it. We're done. The association has ended. When we attempt to reassociate, we will be blocked because we no longer have access to the Radius server. Be aware of those behaviors. If not for the exam, for your career, you should know this because this happens if you are using FlexConnect in your environment. So important stuff. Please pay attention.